For nearly 40 years, J. Scott Applewhite has had a front row seat to history as a news photographer for the Associated Press Washington Bureau. The Pulitzer Prize-winning photojournalist's beat has included the White House, Capitol Hill, and conflict coverage from around the globe.
I go to work every day with a feeling that anything could happen, but also knowing that no matter what happens, I'm going to be in the middle of it, and that's pretty great. Our job's sort of to pull the curtain back a little bit so people can see, the reality of the situation.
Growing up in Elizabethtown in Louisville, Kentucky, Scott considered a career in auctioneering like his grandfather, since the perks of the job included a popcorn machine. But soon he was introduced to what he considers his first camera, a Viewmaster, a binocular-like toy with a three-dimensional wheel of photographs.
You'd press the lever and it would rotate around to the next picture. It was like being a photographer. I would go around the house, clicking it and seeing what came up. It was great. Maybe it was ingrained in me from a long time ago. I don't know, but I love to look. I love to see and just experience the world around me. It turned out that I was a visual learner, and once I got my eye behind the camera, the world changed for me. It's a different way of experiencing the world around you. It gives you, once you become a photographer, you never stop looking. Subconsciously, you're looking for pictures, you're framing everything.
Scott attended Seneca High School in Louisville and Western Kentucky University, where, as a failed biology major, he discovered the College Heights Herald and charted his course as a photojournalist.
My friend George Wedding, who was already a staff photographer at the Herald, he dragged me into the newspaper one day and he says, "Here, come on, let's go into the dark room." As he told me, this is where the magic happens. And I suppose the magic has never stopped.
It was the early 70s, and Western did not have a structured photojournalism program. A few photography classes were offered as English department electives, but no formal program existed. Through mentoring, hands-on, and shared experiences, Scott honed his craft at the Herald and Talisman.
We gave the students a lot of ownership. They took ownership in the program. They helped run it. They helped staff it in some ways. And it was all centered around the publications.
They really started the culture, I think, that the photojournalism program still has and still has been so successful at continuing.
My life changed when my friends at the College Heights Herald took me under their wing, and I discovered maybe this is something I could do.
Scott landed a coveted summer internship with the Louisville Courier-Journal in the summer of his junior year. His experience with the then heavy picture usage paper was a springboard to his dream of becoming a photojournalist.
But I got a call from the editor at the Courier-Journal, the photo editor, and said they had made arrangements for me to go with the state police to an area nearby that had been hurt pretty badly. So they told me where to wait, and I was out waiting by the road and for a police car to come up. But it wasn't a police car. What happened was a state police helicopter landed there instead, and that was quite a thrill. And once I saw that, wow, you get people make a living doing this, I could do this.
Scott's summer internship led to positions with the Henderson Gleaner in Henderson, Kentucky, and the Palm Beach Post and Miami Herald in Florida. He aspired to be a wire service photographer in Miami, and eventually the AP came calling, but the job was in Washington, D.C.
Going from Kentucky to Florida and then to Washington, I guess I hadn't thought about it, but it really does show that you do have to adapt. And, well, adapt is another way of saying count your blessings. I always say to love the ground under your feet. Wherever you are, make the most of it. And, the best prize I think life has to offer is the chance to work hard at work worth doing.
Scott gained a reputation as a photojournalist. He covered conflicts overseas in the Middle East, the Balkans, Panama, Haiti, Africa, and Somalia. In his White House work, he photographed the last 7 U.S. presidents and is known as the Dean of Photographers on the Hill for his kindness, professionalism, and skill. Colleagues have launched an Instagram page in his honor known as Scotty Shots. His photographs from the 1992 presidential campaigns helped the AP earn a Pulitzer Prize. A second Pulitzer was awarded in 1999 for his images of President Clinton's impeachment crisis. Colleague Pablo Martinez Monsivais remembers his first day on the job with the AP in D.C.
It turned out that President Clinton at the time was coming out to apologize to the nation for his involvement in Monica Lewinsky, and he was doing it in the Rose Garden. And everybody scrambled because they had 30 minutes to get there. And Scotty showed up and he took a beautiful photo of Clinton walking down the colony with his head down. And when I saw that photo, I was like, who is Applewhite? Because I had not seen him in the room, not seen him in the Rose Garden. And I was like, and I looked and I was like, you're Applewhite.
Scott believes knowledge is meant to share and graciously gives of his time and talents to budding photojournalists. Colleague Jacqueline Martin remembers her first overseas assignment when Scott was her lifeline in the middle of the night.
And he answered and he was like, honey, what can I do for you? And I was like, I don't know what to do with the situation, laid it all out. He gave me a bunch of options, got my head back on track, and always leaves me with his the phrase that I always think of Scotty in, which is when you're at the end of a long assignment and you're not sure what to do, hold on to the horse. And I tell that to young photographers now. You just have to keep your head in the game, be Scotty, and do your job, and remember that you're only as good as your next picture.
I photographed Nelson Mandela in his prison cell one time after he had been released. And he embraces the spirit of something called Ubuntu. It's about humanity, that you can't have your own humanity unless you share it, unless you're connected with somebody else. Basically, it means I'm human because of you. I am because of you. So we're all interconnected that way.
Scott continues to give back to WKU and mentors young journalists. On Capitol Hill, he serves as chairman of the Senate Press Photographers Gallery and as a member of the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press. He was awarded the Grambling Spirit Award and was the recipient of the White House News Photographers Association Lifetime Achievement Award in 2017.
And every day I drive to work. It's usually very early, and the sun's coming up, and I drive along the Potomac River and I cross the Memorial Bridge. I drive past the monuments. I see the White House over to my left, and down at the end of Pennsylvania Avenue, there's the U.S. Capitol. Same Capitol that I saw with my Viewmaster 60 years ago. And that's where I work. And it's like the opening scenes of a movie, but it's my movie. And we haven't written the final chapters yet. I'm a work in progress. Check back with me in a couple of years.
2019 WKU Hall of Distinguished Alumni inductee J. Scott Applewhite.